Is Lewis Hamilton's Ferrari dream already dead in the water before it even truly began? That's the million-dollar question, or perhaps the multi-million-dollar question given the contracts involved, that's echoing through the paddock, from the tifosi in the grandstands to the hushed whispers in the Maranello wind tunnel. Because what we're uncovering today isn't just about a few bad races. It's about a fundamental, deeply uncomfortable shift that might be systematically dismantling the seven-time world champion's confidence, his pace, and potentially his entire Ferrari future. Forget the glory, forget the hype. We're diving deep into the crimson-colored crisis that has Hamilton questioning everything, and you'll want to stick around to hear why some insiders believe he's even suspicious of his own team. The Spanish Grand Prix, folks, was supposed to be a turning point, a glimmer of hope. Ferrari, bless their optimistic hearts, were pinning their hopes on the FIA's new flexi-wing technical directive, thinking it might just be the silver bullet to shake up the pecking order and catapult them back into serious contention. Hamilton himself, after out-qualifying his teammate Charles Leclerc, albeit with Leclerc strategically saving tires for Sunday, a classic Ferrari chess move, might have felt a tiny spark. But as we all know, qualifying pace is one thing. Race day reality is quite another beast, especially when that reality bites hard. Hamilton, despite his pre-race simulator sessions telling him not to expect miracles from the TD, found himself struggling, absolutely wrestling with that SF25. And wrestle he did, but it was a losing battle. We saw him having to make way for Leclerc, the Monegasque maestro who, let's be honest, seems to have a much better handle on this year's Prancing Horse, ultimately snagging another podium. Meanwhile, Lewis? He limped home to a P6, and even that was gifted, a hollow result, courtesy of a Max Verstappen penalty for tangling with George Russell. But the real gut punch, the moment that had social media absolutely exploding, was seeing Lewis Hamilton, a seven-time world champion, being unceremoniously overtaken down the main straight by Nico Hülkenberg in a SAUBER. A SAUBER, let that sink in. For many die-hard fans, that image alone was a brutal sign, whispering that perhaps, just perhaps, there's no coming back from this Maranello misery. Are they right? Is this the beginning of the end? Or just a very, very bumpy pit stop in his Ferrari journey? We'll explore that, but first, let's get to the core of the issue. A change so fundamental, it's shaking Lewis to his very core. So, what is this very uncomfortable change we're talking about? It's not just about adapting to a new coffee machine in the Ferrari hospitality, folks. Stay with us, because journalist Julian Sarasoli has dropped a bombshell that explains everything about Hamilton's current struggles, and it's something he's never faced before in his entire F1 career. You won't believe what he's being forced to do behind the wheel. Remember, this is a man who has only ever driven Mercedes-powered Formula One cars until this season. Think about that muscle memory, that ingrained instinct developed over nearly 2 decades. Now, he's not just in a new team, he's in a completely different power unit environment. A different chassis philosophy, a different everything. And according to F1 Nation's Julian Sarasoli, Hamilton has been candidly admitting that he has been changing his driving style to a way that is very uncomfortable for him. So maybe he cannot keep it consistently throughout the whole race. Uncomfortable, that's the word. Imagine being asked to write with your opposite hand after years of perfecting your signature. That's the kind of fundamental relearning we're talking about. This isn't just about tweaking a setup. This is about rewiring his very instincts, the ones that made him a legend. And the SF25, oh boy, that car is not making it easy. Hamilton himself reportedly called it the worst it's ever been after Spain. He's battling a chronic lack of confidence in the front end and the rear. It's like trying to tame a wild stallion with a mind of its own, suffering from snap oversteer more than anyone else on the grid. That's a recipe for disaster, especially when you're trying to fundamentally alter how you attack the corners. Is it any wonder Leclerc, who has grown up with Ferrari's often challenging characteristics, seems considerably ahead? The team simply hasn't provided Lewis with a stable rear end, and that instability is magnified when you're already out of your comfort zone. This isn't just a slump. This is a driver versus machine, versus his own ingrained habits. Battle of epic proportions. And this struggle, this constant fight, it's taking a visible, heartbreaking toll. We heard reports of Hamilton wiping tears after a miserable final stint in Barcelona, completely dejected after failing to capitalize on a late safety car. Insiders say he was the most despondent, the most downbeat they've ever seen him towards Ferrari since that blockbuster move over the winter. He's now a significant 23 points behind Leclerc in the standings, a chasm that must feel like an ocean when you're fighting for every tenth. It's easy for us to sit on our sofas and say, he's a 7-time champ, he'll bounce back. But the human element here is undeniable. This isn't just about points and podiums anymore. It's about a champion's spirit being chipped away, lap by painstaking lap. Now, David Coulthard, ever the pragmatist, thinks Hamilton has reasons to be positive, pointing to moments like the middle stint in Spain where he matched Leclerc's pace. But consistency, as Sarasoli pointed out, is the killer. Flashes of brilliance are one thing, but stringing together a full race distance when you're fighting your car and your instincts? That's a different level of challenge, underscored by Leclerc himself, moaning about Hamilton's pace over the radio before eventually being let past. Ouch. That's gotta sting, hearing your teammate in the sister car essentially calling you out for holding him up. So, with the car misbehaving, his driving style compromised, and his morale at an all-time low, what's Hamilton's next move? Is he digging in, ready to fight, or is he looking for an escape route? Well, what we're hearing next suggests Hamilton is now going head-to-head with team principal Fred Vasseur, making demands that could fracture the team's strategy for next year and hinting at a deep-seated suspicion within the Maranello camp. This is where it gets really controversial, folks. Don't go anywhere. All right, the plot thickens dramatically. Frustrated, disillusioned, and desperate for a competitive package, Lewis Hamilton is reportedly now demanding that Ferrari pull the plug on development for their 2025 car. Yes, you heard that right. He's essentially saying, this horse ain't gonna win the race, let's focus on the next one. He's banking everything on the 2026 F1 regulations, hoping that a clean slate, a brand new rulebook, will be his salvation, his chance to finally be competitive in red. This is a massive gamble, and it puts him directly at odds with Fred Vasseur and the team's broader ambitions for the current and upcoming season. Imagine the tension in those debriefs. Is Hamilton essentially playing the long game, writing off 2025 like a bad set of inters on a drying track, and demanding Ferrari shift all their development biscotti into the 2026 basket? But here's where it gets even juicier, and frankly, a bit sad. Hamilton is allegedly suspicious that some elements within Ferrari, some staff members, no longer fully support him. His results haven't been what the team, or indeed he, expected. Could it be that the initial fanfare and excitement are wearing thin, replaced by a cold, hard look at the points table? Is he feeling like an outsider, a hired gun who's not hitting the targets? Adding fuel to this fire, after the Spanish GP, Hamilton reportedly stated he wanted to go home. Was that just a throwaway comment born of frustration, or a deeper yearning for the familiar comfort and success he had at Mercedes? It's a chilling thought for Ferrari and for his millions of fans. Is the dream turning into a Maranello nightmare so quickly that he's already looking for the exit door, metaphorically speaking? So, what now? Is Lewis Hamilton, the man who redefined F1 dominance, truly struggling to adapt to the point of no return? Is this uncomfortable driving style change, coupled with a subpar car and potential internal friction, creating a perfect storm that could see his Ferrari chapter end in disappointment before it ever really gets going? Or is this the ultimate test of a champion? A crucible that will forge an even stronger, more resilient Hamilton ready to pounce in 2026? I want to see your fiery, passionate, and brutally honest opinions down in the comments below. Let's get the debate raging. Don't just lurk, get involved. And if you think this deep dive has given you a new perspective, or if you're just as hooked on this drama as we are, then obliterate that like button, hammer that subscribe button, and smash that notification bell, because we are going to be tracking every single development, every rumor, every radio message in this Hamilton Ferrari saga. Trust me, the next race, the next rumor, the next uncomfortable truth, it's all coming, and you won't want to miss it. Can Lewis turn this around, or is the writing already on the wall in bold Ferrari red letters? Let us know. Until next time, keep the downforce high and the discussions even higher.